And we're here with our guest Tanner Rahier. Tanner, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Glad to be here, guys.
Yeah, Tanner is a former professional baseball player. He was drafted in the second round by the Cincinnati Reds, and that had to be a wild ride, man. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, big time. Just growing up. I mean, I grew up around two professional performance trainers, both my parents. So I had a real different lifestyle growing up. It was all about sports and baseball and then making sure my schoolwork was done. So always leading up to that time, like the draft, I always had a calendar, probably 200 days out, and I'd cross off every day looking forward to draft day, just getting my mind right, staying focused, and training hard every day.
How did you stay focused with the constant swirl around you? Because when you're getting ready to be drafted, it's everybody's talking about you. Your name's being mentioned in Facebook, Twitter, and in actual articles and stuff like that because teams are sending scouts out to look at you.
Oh yeah, big time. One of my biggest things was I went to Palm Desert High School in Southern California, so uh, it's like the baseball central. You expect the best baseball out there, but I was in Palm Desert, out by Palm Springs, the little valley area, so it was Division 4 baseball. So my freshman year, I was starting varsity shortstop. The hardest guy I was seeing was throwing 84 to 86, and we were like, oh, this isn't what we expected, because with my parents, they always wanted the best for me and kept me grinding, my workouts, everything like that. So my freshman year was actually the only year I played high school baseball. And then I ended up playing in the ABCL in Southern California, which is a wood bat league. So instead of the 25 games for high school, I'd play 60 to 70 game seasons, and then a lot of junior college guys. And I was just seeing older guys and a lot better talent.
Wow, that's pretty neat. That's
Yeah.
that's almost like my only equivalent to that is instead of playing my last year of T-ball, I got bumped up to coach pitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I never made it anywhere with baseball. I pretty much sucked at it. I was telling Zach before we came on that I was moved from being the shortstop because I couldn't make the throw across the diamond. So I ended up playing second base a lot. But it is what it is. Um, so you only played 1 year of high school ball. That's pretty interesting. And you said the guys were throwing about 84 to 86. What were they throwing whenever you got to the wood bat league?
It was pretty much about 85 to 92, but then we get a few guys that would actually just have come out to that league because it started getting scouted pretty highly when I went over there. So we'd see a couple guys 94 to 98, and it was all wood bats. So you jump from being 14 years old swinging those old metal bats where the balls just jump like crazy, hopping over to wood and just playing 9 inning games instead of sevens, and just a lot better talent. It was just the best choice for me for the area I was in and my situation. So
Would they throw like breaking stuff too?
a little bit, but it was just like that slow loopy stuff. So you couldn't, like, even when scouts would come out, they really weren't getting a feel or really getting to see what they needed to see from me.
Gotcha.
And did you go on to play college ball, or did you get drafted straight from that league?
Straight from that league. I committed
Wow.
to USD, University of San Diego. So that's where I was planning on going. I wanted to do some architectural design there and study that. So.
That's funny. Zach and I actually met in San Diego.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we both lived there for a period of time, and that's crazy that you would have been down there as well. Um, you said you grew up with a athletic family, trying to encourage sports. Did you play anything else, or was it strictly baseball?
Well, I would play basketball, football, baseball, everything, but not really for teams. The only big team thing, like I would go do it for fun or have a bunch of friends get together, and we'd always be doing that sort of stuff. But team-wise, mainly just stuck with baseball. That was my real calling, what I really loved. So I never drifted too far away from it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way as far as the passion of the sport. Wasn't good skill wise, but I've always followed it. I watched it as a kid, fall asleep every night with baseball on TV.
Yep.
Still do to this day. Um, let's see. But we brought you on to talk about something else that you did that's kind of related to the sport, but it was your own invention, and it's called the BallBell, right?
Yeah, the BallBell.
Now, what exactly is this?
So the BallBell, a lot of players, they work with normal dumbbells. They go do curls and everything like that. And I have it right here, kind of. So this is one of the prototypes, one of the first ones we had really made and done before it got completely perfect. But so I actually grew up using this because with my dad in the sports world, we had tons of devices that no one's used or really been able to. So even when I was younger, the main purpose is though, it's just it trains your body. Instead of if I were to grab a normal dumbbell, I'm just gripping it normal, doing some curls, and I'm isolating just my biceps. So that's all I'm getting from it. So this is just it's as simple as just changing the grip up, and then just from right here, even with 5 pounds, my fingers are working up through my forearms, my bis, tris, and it's just all the muscles that I need are triggering. So instead of targeting that one muscle in the gym and then having to go do, forearm workouts and then some shrugs for the shoulders, everything like that, and overtraining or leaving one of those little muscles behind that you kind of forget about, it targets all of them. So even just doing a simple little, just like a little shoulder program, anything like that, instead of just targeting that shoulder, I'm still working the fingers to the forearms, to the bicep, tricep, shoulder, back. It's just the simplest little movement. And then a lot of guys, they'll focus so much on curls or dumbbell bench, stuff like that. And it comes to that point where they're in the game and they have that tough play and they throw across their body or something, and it leads to injury just because they leave something so small out that they don't think about.
You have those tiny stabilizing muscles. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of just doing the isolation thing and training one at a time. I mean, obviously it's still great to go and do the curls and everything, but just to have something else to work into to really get the right feel for it,
Right.
Now, I noticed when you gripped it, you kind of had the like the fastball grip. If you gripped it with different pitch grips, does that target different muscles down throughout the arm as well?
Yeah, actually, I don't have one here with me right now, but we have a trainer grip as well. So, and pitchers love it because they can do curveball grips and everything they need for it. You can change the grips on it however you want, and you can pitchers for spin rate, everything like that. It gives them whatever they need to work on, or just go through the motions, just to feel it and build up that arm and shoulder strength.
That's awesome. I can definitely see whenever you had it up like this and you were doing, I was instantly thinking like, oh man, pitchers, they need this because strengthen that shoulder, strengthen that elbow joint, maybe get rid of some of those Tommy John surgeries that always creep up on these guys.
Definitely, yeah.
And is this
one of my best friends, and he's also the co-founder of me with the BallBell, is Mason Felt, and he was a 5th rounder the same year I was in 2012, and he had quite a few surgeries on his arm and had a real tough time getting back into it. When you have one surgery, it's might as well have 10, because you never really know how your body's going to react to it. Yep. And he used it and for quite a while, just was doing shoulder programs, easy long toss programs, and we were working together. And then he was just last season, he was playing out in the Czech Republic out there at pro ball again. So wow. It's amazing what those muscles can do for you. Just build them up the right way.
Yeah, that's incredible. He's keeping the career going. Is that anything that you wanted to do? Was to try to extend your career?
It is. I still go hit and I throw. Okay. I do baseball lessons all the time. So I mean, if the right opportunity approaches, which a few phone calls have happened recently, so I'm seeing kind of where that's going to lead and take me. But it's still kind of up in the air right now. But I definitely love to get back out on the field.
And sure. You're living out west, so are you snooping around to Arizona trying to get any spring training in or anything like that at any of those facilities?
Maybe a couple workouts.
Okay.
The year before last, like I got an invite out to the Diamondbacks workout, just stuff like that. The Padres have been in touch with me recently, and I'm always just in touch with the Reds guys. I mean, I got along with them so well, and they're just so many good people with the Reds, so I'm still always in touch with those guys.
The first pro baseball player I ever met was a catcher for the Reds. He went to church with my grandma when I was a kid. And every time I saw him, I would harass him for an autograph. And eventually he's like, dude, I've given you like 6 of these things. As a kid, you anytime you see a ball player, that's what you want to do is stick out the pin to him.
Their autograph.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it maybe was more valuable each time you got it, maybe. Oh, whatever.
Yeah. I remember the first ball game I ever watched, which was only a few years ago. It was independent league. And at the end of the game, the kids all line up to get all those ball players' signatures. And we all thought, man, these kids don't know who these people are, but they know that they're professional ball players.
Yep, exactly.
I had some questions from your actual playing days. Can you remember any of the pitchers that you faced or anything like that that have gone on to play in the bigs?
Oh, there's so many guys. I
Really?
mean, yeah, but like even just teammates, that like
Sure, sure.
you play with over time, and you just see him keep going and going and going. And then a coach who used to play for, Mike Spears, he would always tell us when we were younger growing up. He ran the ABD Academy that I played for in California growing up. So he would always tell me, and it's funny because I've seen this so much in pro ball. He'd be like, "Yeah, there's always going to be that one guy that you think, oh, he'll fall off, he's not going to make it." And he makes it. And that's one of the things that stuck with me quite a bit because you see a lot of guys just grinding it out, putting their time in, and it always pays off. So that's a part of the game I love, As long as you work hard and put your time in, you'll make it there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah. I've got a 3-year-old son that starts t-ball. Tuesday is his first practice actually, and that's one thing that I've been trying to get him into the mode of is like we're gonna play. If you're gonna play, we're gonna play all the time. We're gonna play at home. I've got a little foam bat and a foam ball that I pitched to him in the house. And as a 3-year-old, he's not even using the tee anymore. He's just hitting them out of the air. He's
That's
already
awesome.
knocked
Yeah.
picture frames off the wall. He's already destroyed half the damn house, but he's gonna be a ball player. He's got the whole um, attitude about it. Other
Yeah.
kids will be like, no, I'm not a baseball player. I don't play baseball. It's not in season right now. He's like, I'm a ball player. He doesn't care what time of year it is. And it sounds like that's how you grew up too. You
Oh,
just
definitely.
constantly playing, and that's awesome. So hopefully I've got a second rounder asleep in the other room right now.
Oh, yeah.
We have another host of our podcast that he unfortunately couldn't be here today because his daughter was playing basketball. But he sent in a few questions that he wanted to ask you as well, if you have time for those.
Yeah, definitely.
And he one of the ones that he wanted to ask, and I guess it's pretty pertinent, is who did you cheer for growing up?
It was tough. So I was born in Washington State, and I bounced around with Washington and Oregon back and forth quite a bit. So my first big league game I ever went to was the Mariners at Safeco Field and the Red Sox. And I mean, I always like Ichiro. You can't not love Ichiro.
Absolutely.
So
He's the hit king in my book.
I always loved watching him play, but always growing up played short as well. I couldn't stray away from Jeter. So I always loved the Mariners and the Yankees.
Okay. I grew up a Red Sox fan. And I saw that you had a picture when you were a kid with Bronson Arroyo.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. And then you ended up playing with him in Cincinnati.
Yep, exactly.
That's fucking cool.
We took the same photo again out at spring training. That's probably the one you saw, but that was pretty incredible. I showed him that photo, and he couldn't believe it. He's like, "No way, man! You make me feel so old."
You were wearing a Red Sox hat in that photo.
I was, yes.
So it seems like you just bounce around on your teams. But that's kind of how Zach's been with a lot of sports. He just watches the sport because he enjoys it. Mm-hmm. He only became a Cardinals fan when he moved to St. Louis.
Yep.
Yeah.
So another question that he had was, what do you miss most about playing?
Oh, honestly, just putting the cleats on, running out on the field, and just seeing all the fans, and it's just a feeling that you can't really describe it. It's like you work your whole life for this, and then it's just being out there, and it's like you don't think about anything. It's just you're on the field, you're playing the game. It's what I spent my whole life doing, and just that moment, just being there, it's just, like I said, you can't really describe it, but it's just like everything is just perfect right where you want it to be.
Yeah, that's your nirvana, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Stepping out on the field. Due to the high number of home runs in Major League Baseball and across the board in minor league baseballs, do you think that there's something funky going on, or is it just the guys are getting bigger, faster, and better at what they're doing?
Oh, it's just the big league balls. I mean, like I do lessons all the time with kids, and I have a ton of big league balls, so I'll be flipping them baseballs, and I'll be like, all right, I really want you to get your hips in this one, and then I'll flip them a big league ball because I know it'll go farther. Even when I hit it too, it's just they carry like you wouldn't believe, and it's just they're more fun to hit. And I use them in a lot of my lessons I do because they get excited, they see results, and it's just, I mean, I definitely think they fly quite a bit further.
Well, it's confirmed. Big league ball juiced.
Yes.
We've talked about it at great lengths on our show, and I even went as far as to bring in a ball that I had from like the 90s from a game and a ball from 2019, and we were looking at them, and you can tell the difference in just the stitching and a lot of things. It's tons different. So to your point, I can definitely see how it could fly further because it's definitely more aerodynamic.
Yeah, big time.
It doesn't have the drag. You undoubtedly have been to a lot of baseball stadiums, a lot of parks throughout the country. What's the best food that you've ever gotten from one of those concession stands or stadiums or whatever?
That's a tough one. That's a really good one. I want to say the Kane County Cougars in Loway. It was some jalapeno burger, and it was just absolutely out of this world. I don't even remember. It was some ridiculous minor league ballpark name for their burger, but it was amazing. And I had it right before the game, and I just thought, what a terrible decision that was. But then I got 2 hits, 2 doubles that game, and the next game I did it again, and it didn't work out so well.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is it normal to eat like at the park wherever you play?
Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of times when you're on the road traveling, I mean, if you're in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah,
you're not going to have anything even by you. So you're going to hope the concessions open up early enough to grab a decent bite. And then after the games, that's when you're ordering pizza or trying to find a Waffle House or something close by you can get to. That's open all the time.
I guess that makes sense. I forget that, not everyone's going to, Busch Stadium or whatever. You're playing in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. And with that lifestyle, it's got to be hard to get adequate nutrition and to make sure you're not just sitting there eating, greasy cheeseburgers with jalapenos slathered all over them all the time.
That's the good thing. You can eat that all the time.
At least you're working out and you kind of burn off the calories.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. Zach, what questions did you have, bud?
So obviously spring training is right around the corner. And you guys are trying to play for a spot. Did you go through spring training yourself?
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about like that whole process, like, trying to play your best, trying to get a spot on the team and stuff like that.
Yeah, so spring training is a time at the field where everyone's there, so it's pretty hectic. Cages are just absolutely packed, nonstop. You wake up I would get up about 4 a.m. and then 4:35, make sure I ate, ready to go. You can eat at your place or at the field. Like the Reds, they had a great chef there for us, so you could go there and pretty much have a buffet of anything you want for the morning. But I would never pig out too much because we get started usually like a 7 or 8 a.m. stretch. So I would like to get up and get my body going earlier instead of pigging out right before I get out on the field and get rolling. But
sure.
The main thing is, so we get there at about 6 a.m. I'll kind of take you through a day, So
yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's packed. Everyone's there. Everyone's grinding for a spot. So they're getting their early work in. They're in the cages. They're on the half fields taking ground balls. Outfielders are out running some routes, everything like that. So early work is usually like 7, 8:30-ish. And then there's another team stretch at about 9. And then you got your rookie ball squad. You got low A, high A, double A, triple A, and the big league squad. So you just check your board, and then there'll be kind of a calendar type setup, a daily routine. It says the time, stretch, fields, where everyone's going, hitters, pitchers, and everyone kind of splits up in their own ways. And it's pretty much for how many guys are there. It's incredible how much one-on-one time you get, working on whatever you need to be working on, especially with early work, which is, like I said, at about 8. They'll have a list of just 2 or 3 guys from each team, and it'll go about every other day or every third day where you'll be out on that half field just doing forehands, backhands, short hops, Then there'll be the second day of that. You'll be in the cage working on whatever they need you to be working on. And then 10:30, 11 rolls around. It's kind of go back to the clubhouse, relax a little bit, regroup. Big league games are usually at the night. The minor league games are between 12 and 2. So we get there, we'll grab a lunch, and then take the bus, or if we're at a home game, usually go out. And home games, we'll be out on the field a little longer, doing some more work, 27 outs, just going over signs, everything, getting ready for the season. And then pretty much when game time hits, it's balls out, you know, show everything you're working for. And that's where you really got to separate yourself. Those are the first games where you have every coach at every level coming back and seeing who did what that day. And then say one day you go 2 for 3 with a bomb and a double. They're going to remember that, you know. The next day it's going to make you even want to work harder because your name's getting in their head. And it's a big grind. I mean, everyone's fighting for a spot. I mean, you got friends, but you're also working, you know. Yep. So it's a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got buddies, but they're also your competition at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I talked to so many guys from there, still best friends. I mean, I feel like my draft class was a very talented group, but I also a lot of really good people in that group. Guys that don't even play anymore, that are just out living their best life, you know, successful. It's just a real good group of guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like every draft class seems to get better and better and better. You know, I've watched baseball since the late 80s, early 90s, and I remember the rookies then just being like, they're all right. You know, it's a rookie guy. Give him 3 or 4 years, and then he'll be good. Nowadays, it seems like guys are getting drafted, and they're ready to go up to the bigs 2-3 years later, like Ronald Acuna. That dude's fucking insane.
Yeah.
But to go through that grind at such a young age, like some of you guys do, that's intense.
Oh, especially like once you break with your first full season team. And my first year, I was 19, and it's like, all right, I'm used to traveling 2 hours to go to a tournament or something like that, but it's different when you're at the field. I'd get there about noon for a 7 p.m. game, and then I'm not out of the field till 11:30 to midnight, you know? So you're there all day, and then 3-game series to 5-game series, then you're on a bus for 12 hours to the next park, and then same thing over and over and over. So it's a big, baseball's mental enough, and then it's a big game changer. It really separates, like you could see players that aren't used to it, they could fall off real quick.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that because, like you said, it's a grind. You're putting your body through an intense period of time. And then plus a lot of these guys are probably trying to learn how to hit with a wood bat at this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
As guys get drafted out of high school, they're used to dinging them off the metal bats, and then all of a sudden the balls aren't flying as far.
Yeah, it's a big difference too.
So for you had that advantage. You already were used to the wood bat and could drive with some power with it. So that might be something that I look into with Grayson, is to get a wood bat in his hands a little bit early.
Definitely. I always tell a lot of my players and guys I work with, always just swing a wood, get used to it. Because then when you grab your metal bat, it's just game over. You know, you're ready to go.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure you could probably come up with some kind of weight training with your the barbell that could kind of simulate a heavier bat swing too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
That way, if you're used to swinging a heavier bat, whenever you get your go-to bat, it gets through the zone a lot quicker.
Oh, yeah. Well, like one of the things I had to do when I was younger with my dad being a performance trainer, so we'd get 60-pound, 70-pound hay bales of compressed hay. He'd wrap them with like a turf material, and they had handles on them. And we had about a 7-foot wall, and we called it the RBI machine. And we would take them by the handle. So we'd literally grab it by the handle. And this is 60, 70 pounds. We have to throw it over this wall. But just doing this motion, people don't realize how big it is just with your spleen, getting all that power, generating that power in there. So a lot of stuff just for explosive power that I was really lucky to get to do, and really just put myself ahead of a lot of players that no one else really had the advantage to do or even know about, you know?
Yeah, that is smart. Just replicating those motions in any way that you can. God, I was going to ask you something else. Fuck. Zach, if you got anything, go ahead. I'm thinking.
Shit. How many? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything. We hit a wall.
We have hit a wall. The last question that Justin had for you is, if you had one superpower to use in baseball, what would it be and why?
Oh, super strength.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a given.
Just be able to just hit 700-foot bombs.
Exactly, nonstop. Or hit a pop up that still carries out, So that would be amazing.
I had a good question lined up, but I didn't want to interrupt him talking about his hay bales, and I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it.
That's funny.
Oh, well. Oh, no, I do remember. You were talking about the swings. When you played, were you raised to swing with a level swing? Because the guys now are coming up being taught the uppercut swing, get that exit velocity and that launch angle and all that stuff. When I was being taught, they were always saying, "Hey, make sure you keep that level."
Yeah, I was kind of in between. So it's more about it's really touchy for a lot of kids, And I think a big thing is really how coaches explain it. Like to me, I still like to say like hands down to the ball, but it's more like a bat path, and then where you make contact, that's when you start coming up to where kids interpret it as, oh, I'm just gonna swing up and uppercut it, and then you tell them to swing down at the ball, and it looks like they're chopping wood. So
Yep.
that's one of the tough things about teaching players. So I try to just mainly keep them even, and then I'll just have them with high hand finish, to where they get used to that trajectory.
Now I know
That's my best way I can explain it.
Sure. Yeah. I know that somebody invented a new type of tee that it kind of hooks over and holds the ball so that you hit it from the bottom half of the ball instead of the regular traditional tee that it just sits on top of.
Yeah.
And that seems to be helping a lot of kids correct their swings.
Yeah, I loved using those tees. I still love those things.
Do you?
They're
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Yeah, and they help you, which I like to say is just stay on path, down and then finish through the zone. So
Awesome. Do you have anything else that you would want to throw in, Tanner?
not that I could think of.
Any pages or any of your any of your companies or whatever you might have that you want to shout out that people can find you at or anything?
Yeah, I'd say my Instagram, and then check out BallBell.com, because it's going through the process. So
is that on the market available for purchase yet?
Yeah, it is. So we have a few orders coming in here and there, but we're meeting with a few teams right here during spring training right now. So that should be pretty big. I think once a few teams get their hands on it, it's more of when you feel it, you'll understand it. Because a lot of guys, you can because you can adjust the weights on it. So you grab a 30-pound dumbbell, and then you grab the BallBell at 30 pounds, and you do a curl with it, and you just feel it right away. So you just gotta have the feeling for it. Really, you'll just understand exactly what it does instantly.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it starts, though, is, you start talking to some of these big league teams. And like you said, if one or two of them jump on it, then that's when you're really going to take off. Look at things like the swing rail and the axe bat and stuff like that. They get one or two people that endorse it, and then half the damn league is using it. So
yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yep. If it works for one team, it kind of spreads like wildfire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Good and bad, as we're learning from the Astros.
Yeah. Oh, another thing for you guys on my Instagram page, I was talking about, I do this thing. It's just called Tea Time with Tanner, but I just hashtag it. So I go up, I'll take my tee and some baseballs and bring my drone out, and I just go to different places, random, real cool areas, and just tee off. So I mean, it's like I did a 4-mile hike out at Vulture Peak, and it's out in the middle of nowhere out in Wickenburg, and I just climbed literally to the top of this 4-mile hike mountain and just started teeing off. So I'm going to start doing those quite a bit more, and hopefully get a good little build up going on those.
Yeah, that's
cool. Yeah, we'll definitely give you a follow, and we'll watch those videos. If you're ever in Southern California, you should go up to Potato Chip Rock and do it there.
I want to so bad, that one, and my next one's probably gonna be at the Grand Canyon. So
there you go.
That's awesome. Like that's one way that you're definitely gonna get a lot of views, because people are gonna be real interested in that shit. What is your Instagram handle where people can find that?
Just first and last name, Tanner Rahier.
Okay. Right on. So that's Rahier on the last name. So it's kind of a difficult one to spell if you're not familiar with it. Dude, we thank you so much for your time. It's been great to talk to you. Come back anytime. Let us know how the BallBell does, and we'll definitely be watching your drone videos. That sounds pretty dope.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely.
And last thing, I see you're wearing that Cincinnati Reds hoodie. Did you ever meet Pete? Pete Rose?
Not, actually.
No. What do you think about his chances of trying to get into the Hall of Fame and stuff?
I think now they're a lot better than they were.
Agree.
I can't see baseball sticking with that for so long and then just changing it. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to say. So.
Yeah.
I've always been on the side that I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. You don't rack up 4,300 hits just to be left out.
I agree completely. Yeah.
But I met him one time in Vegas, and he was kind of an asshole. So.
Oh yeah, I've heard that quite a bit too. So.
Not to say that should keep a man out of the Hall of Fame, but
That's funny.
I do think he should be in. And I think with the Astro scandal, it does increase his odds. But I've always also said that I think that the only way that he gets in is after he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
Oh, well. Tanner, man, it's been great.
Definitely has. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. And we'll catch you next time.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.